see if I can, my screen's going. So no fancy music today. Adam usually runs that, and he got delayed at another engagement a little bit earlier on. So you're just going to get me today. We'll give, I don't know, Adam might join us here in a few minutes, but that's kind of good news for your calendar, because when I run these updates by myself, they usually go pretty quick. So we probably won't be long on the call. I know we have more folks popping on. Looks like everyone is getting back to work. The holidays are well in the past now, so everyone's back in the groove, and that is showing up in our attendee list as well. All right. Couple of items, a little bit more of a housekeeping items that I want to talk about today. Well, we're only 3 minutes. We tend to run on pretty generous time frame here, and I still see more folks jumping on. So give me just a minute here, and we will get started. I didn't know how much we needed Adam's intro music to kind of fill the gap with the silence. With the meeting today possibly running a bit shorter, I would really encourage you guys to put any questions you have in the chat. I'll be monitoring that. We'll try to get to that, but if you begin thinking of that, anything you need to know right now. I do also want to remind everybody that we have 2 standard live training sessions available every week. So there is one Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoon if you're in North America. And if you're in Australia, I'm sorry, I can't do the time zone math. It's different. It's not Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoon. It's different. But there are 2 available every week, so that we can hopefully provide a time that you guys can join us. Sometimes nobody shows up on those, so a bonus for me. I get a little bit of free time in my calendar, but sometimes we get 1 or 2 people will pop in. Sometimes we've had as many as half a dozen. So they're either kind of impromptu one-on-one sessions, or they're a really cool kind of group session, and you kind of hear what some other people are doing with the tool and can contribute to that, or just watch and see what's going on. So I encourage everyone to drop in on the training sessions as you need those. I know some folks go out there, they register for all of them, and then just pop in when needed, just sometimes out of curiosity. So to get to that, log into the platform, and it's under our resource section. It's about midway down in that drop down list, and that's schedule live training, and that will take you out to the Zoom registration page. Pop that information in there, and then you'll get the calendar invite to go along with it. So that will remind you when that comes up. All right, let's go ahead and kind of get things going for today's activities. I want to go over briefly some of the things that Adam sent out in the email. If you're not getting the Not Another newsletter, then make sure you do kind of check in on that. We have tried to condense all of our email communications down to that one. I guess it was about summer of last year. We were digging into it, and we realized that you guys were getting a lot of email from us. So we have tried to dial that back. If there's anything that still continues to pepper your inbox that is not what you want, let us know. We want our communications to be valid with you guys and meaningful. So we've tried to put it down into that one. Comes out noon, your time zone, every Tuesday. But really quick, the auto task. There had been some challenges with Autotask and getting that synchronization on your company information. That is almost fixed. Autotask kind of, anytime we shift the blame, right? Autotask changed some stuff on their back end back in December, and some of that's had some trickle effect. And so we are taking care of that. Good news on Autotask is we've made some changes with our platform. It's been a long time, the gray in my beard. It's been a long time since I programmed, so I'm not really sure what all this means, but we're switching to a React platform. So that is going to help us get more of these things done. I'm getting a notice here. It looks like Adam is joining us. So, but I have to let him in. Maybe I ought to stop and pause on this. Do we want to let him in or not? I don't know. I guess he's going to see the recording sooner or later. So we'll bring Adam into the mix here. I think he's coming over. There we go.
I'd like to point out that I could see just fine and hear.
Oh no. No, I forgot about that. Yeah. Because I couldn't see you doesn't mean you couldn't see me.
I'm like sitting there like, how do I get in? Evidently, Zoom doesn't know that I created this meeting.
Bit of a doofus move there on my part, but oh well. All right.
All right, continue, good sir.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm on a roll here. So Autotask, that is coming very soon. Also, we had a small bug in the dashboard. We love adding those projects. When you're on the dashboard, that little button down there allows you to add those projects. It's a really cool feature. Some of you have probably heard me talk about the cautionary tale, and that is, there is a process there, a closed loop. We want to assess, we want to recommend, and then we want a roadmap. And that is the ideal use, because when we follow that three-step process, the scores will change. All of that being said, there is still a use case from time to time where we just need to add a project. We need to get it on the roadmap. That roadmap widget is extremely valuable. I know a lot of you, the majority of your conversation is centered around that roadmap. It's what's on the screen a good portion of the time, that and the dashboard. So using that plus, it's not like a bad thing, obviously, right? We put that feature on there because it's valuable. Just remember, when you put something on there and you complete that project, it may not necessarily change their scores. So keep that in mind and use that judiciously, but that is coming. And then also mentioning in, if you didn't, read the light gray in the email on that, we do have some.
Apologize.
We have some scale pad integration coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. We know a lot of you guys are on that Warranty Master scale pad product line, and we see some value in that. We've got some great feedback from you guys on how some of these things would work, so we've begun integrating these into the platform.
An update there, actually, as of this morning, the scale pad integration is live in the test environment. So if we have any volunteers, I'll be just goofing around with some of your submitted CSVs, but we should see a significant increase in the visible data for assets that you tie to projects. So if you tie an asset like a PC, you'll see quite a few more fields now. Good. And it'll be in the asset itself. So for those of you who like to deep dive into your assets, you can. For people like me who hate details, I won't even notice. So that is in the test environment as of this morning. So
very cool. Very cool.
The thing that you should be noting from Skip's wonderful listing of fixes here is that, we are trying to be a lot more on top of what are your interests in the software. Yep. If it's something simple, let us know, and we want to align it. If not, we will integrate it into the larger roadmap that we release in April. So some things it's like, we're redoing that module completely. So it's going to be in the new React framework, which is like you see the dashboard. Everything will be done in that framework. And a lot of the bugs that have plagued us since the dawn of time will just disappear. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We are excited about those items. The product development is a constant topic of conversation for us. Just bear in mind, we are always cognizant that we're kind of running, I believe personally, a little bit of a fine line. It goes back to that old saying I use with my kids all the time. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. All right. And so, yes, we have lots of opportunities today, even to bring in mountains of data into the platform. But we always need to think about, why should we bring this in? Is this really something that we're going to use in our conversation with our clients? Back to conversations and not presentations. We don't want to dump on our clients there with an overload of information.
Yeah, to that end, I promised that I would talk about the dashboard, how to win over clients, how to sell projects as competitive advantage, and how to build trust in your customer journey. And so that's on the agenda for today. And as Skip said, the third thing there, building trust with a customer journey, comes down to those three things that you have to do. What are they, Skip?
Assess, recommend, and roadmap.
It has to be simple. If you have a 26-step process, you will lose your clients. You will not build trust with them. But if you have a simple process, you can follow that, and it will build trust over time because, oh, they know what part of the cycle they're in. They can trust that you're going to revisit this topic again. If you've ever been in a meeting where somebody says, hey, while you're here, and they sidetrack your entire meeting because they don't feel like you're going to handle this later, they need to tell you now. Yep. And so you want to set those expectations of how you're going to do things so that your client knows, oh, we'll get to that later. We'll get, oh, there's the assess, recommend, roadmap. These things help build confidence with your clients so that they're more willing to buy your recommendations. And what I kind of want to show you here today is a little bit of, and I'm sorry I'm late here, people. I drove to the wrong side of town, and then I drove to the other side of town. So I have covered all four corners of Lincoln in the last hour. So I appreciate it.
Just Lincoln. What would it take you? What, 15 minutes?
I know. Well, unfortunately, in Lincoln, Nebraska, we don't believe in beltways. So basically, imagine a town of, Lincoln size but there's no main like beltway to hop on. There's no interstate that circles the town. So you have to take streets everywhere. I mean, the best I got is a 4-lane, people. And so I'm very envious of larger cities where I have a beltway that I can hop on. Anyways, so what we're doing here is I've been talking last week about how we have architecture audits. And architecture audits are boring for our clients, but it's part of the assessment phase. You got to assess what your client has before you can sell them. But then we fall off the wagon. And I'm looking at the long list of people in this meeting here, and I guarantee you a couple of you are chuckling because we watch the train wreck that is an engineer trying to sell an assessment to clients.
Yes.
Where they're trying their hardest to convince them that they need to buy these assets because they know in their heart of hearts that this is going to fix all the problems. and nothing happens of it. Like, why won't my customer believe me? Why won't they take my advice? Why won't they deal with my recommendations? Because they don't understand them.
That's right.
You can explain until you're blue in the face what the OSI 7-layer model is and how this network stack is going to improve things. I guarantee your clients care about that conversation as much as they do about you and receipts.
All right. And when you talk about understanding, I think too many times, and I know I have fallen in this trap. When you say understanding, I'm like, okay, I can put on my teacher hat and I can, break it down and explain the OSI model or explain, how packets are getting from here to there. That's not the understanding we're talking about. It's not a technical understanding. They don't understand how it's going to help their business. And so that's the shift that we really need to make.
Which is why we recommend for MSPL customers, and this is part of the humanized IT framework that we really push. If you want to know more about that, get some coaching or get some time with us, and we'll talk to you about how the whole of the humanized IT framework works. But it's that you have this assessment here. You've assessed. Now, if you are really good at your job, if you are nailing it as an MSP, your client will not know that you ran an infrastructure assessment. You will have your engineer will have done this in their spare time, or not spare time. They'll have done it as a ticket. And they'll have done it outside of the current meeting. They will have gone through and assessed what the client has and built an entire breakdown of what they need and built this roadmap. So they've assessed and they've made a recommendations and they put it on a roadmap here. That all happens before your meeting. Now, the roadmap is not complete because now the account manager and the VCIO has to walk in. Now, in the past, we've just shown them this, and this has been great. Why is it great? Because business people love pretty bar graphs. They love Gantt charts. This makes them feel happy. It's safe and comfortable for them. Show them a firewall and they're like, nice flashy light. You show them this and they're like, oh, now I'm in my safe zone.
Yeah.
Now I'm in my comfort zone. So we built the dashboard to give them that one more layer of, okay, I get this. So if you've heard us talk about it before, the dashboard was built with the idea of somebody who's not technical at all in mind. So we actually showed this to like doctors and other business people and said, what do you think about this at a glance? And without fail, everyone goes, that's actually really cool. I like that. I want to use that in my own company. Is there a way I can make that work for my office? So they can do their own assessments on their business. So we knew we had a win there once we got this kind of view. So once you created that assessment on the architecture brand, so let's say you don't have any of these. So let's remove the link report here. Let's just blank this out. So let's say you just have this in quarter one. This is all you have. Now, here's the beauty of the dashboard is that they're like, oh, look at all the stuff we have left to do.
Yes.
This isn't something that you are dropping the ball on. It's like, oh, well, next quarter, you're going to see a score here. And then third quarter, you're going to see a score here. In fourth quarter, we're going to assess the full strategic initiatives of your company, and you're going to see a score here. And then in January next year, we're going to come back. So you're showing them the journey, and they're going to be so impressed because how did you get all these projects? Well, we already assessed it. What? We don't have to do that in this meeting? No. We already did it for you. You just made their lives easier, people. And you have a lot of long-term long-term clients that you can probably rattle off the top of your head exactly what's going on with them, what their problem is, and how to fix it. But they just haven't bought in on it because you spend these meetings talking about the technical breakdowns, and you spend the meeting assessing architecture, and you spend the meeting talking about tickets. Those are operational items. You table those for other times. During these meetings, when you're sitting with this dashboard in here, you cannot see tickets. There's a reason why we developed the dashboard so you could not see tickets in this dashboard, because we don't want you talking about them. You will lose clients talking about tickets every day. Just as if your accountant came in and talked to you about receipts every time you saw them, eventually you'll be like, why am I paying this person so much? It's talking about receipts. I can pay a bookkeeper like half the cost of an accountant. No, you want to talk about how to make more money with your accountant. You want to talk about cost savings. You want to talk about better ways to create larger margin on your products. You don't want to talk about receipts. Same thing with your clients. They don't want to hear about the latest and greatest firewall. What they want to hear about is the latest and greatest business solution. And so you want to take these recommendations and make them business solutions. Always and forever. We have talked about this almost every single HIT meeting we have, every weekly meeting we have. We talk about this and we are trying to beat it into you. These need to be business solutions. You may tie 6 assets to this: a new firewall, 3 new switches, and I don't know, some kind of monitoring hardware. That may all be part of this, and the price tag may be $8,000, maybe it's $15,000. Well, that doesn't matter. What matters is, will this make the quoting system more reliable? Yep. Is that the solution you're providing? So when you're using the dashboard, go ahead and leave these blank. You don't have to have all the answers today. You've only got an hour with this client. What are the chances you're going to be able to talk to them about all 4 of these things in an hour-long meeting? And in actuality, you have about 20 minutes of the meeting where they're actually paying attention. And that is just human brains. There's a reason why when you go to school, class periods are 50 minutes. There's a reason why the core material of that class is covered in 20 minutes. There are things that happen in your brain if you want to be successful on how you win people over. And so if your engineer has made recommendations, says they need to buy a new firewall, it's out of date. No. You're going to take that, you're going to click on it, and you're going to change it into, what is this going to solve for the customer? And then you're going to go down into our nice little area here, and you're going to calculate out and explain it to your customer. How does this make their lives better? Yeah, and so you've got second bullet point there. You've hit how to sell your projects as a competitive advantage, because now you can show them that they're better.
Yes. Yeah, and many of you probably heard me say this, and I know we've got several new people on the call this week. My analogy on this is the managed service platform tool is very much like upgrading your plane at 20,000 feet. All right. So don't feel like you have to have architecture, service, risk, and strategy all mapped out, polished, and ready to roll come January 1. We can easily add this on as we walk through this with our clients. Now, two things, really good things happen there. One, we get to set expectations with our clients. We get to start talking about that strategy session that we're going to have with them in Q4 so that we're priming the pump for that CEO to show up when we may not get him any other time. But if we start now, we've got a much, much greater likelihood of him showing up because you're going to get feedback that these meetings are about their business. These meetings are productive about helping them improve their bottom line. So that's going to lead up to that. But then two, we're able to spread out our workload over the year. All right. We love what we do at Managed Service Platform, but we're fully cognizant that you have other things that you have to do with your clients and to run the business in the background as well. So you may not be able to spend all day, every day in Managed Services Platform. This is a tool in your bigger tool set. So let's make this useful throughout the whole year and allow us to focus on that. And then come year two, it gets really easy because we've done a lot of the legwork and we only need to update things. So don't feel like you have to climb Mount Everest all at once. This is a much longer journey.
And I blame the system, the man, for preparing you guys all to think you need to climb Mount Everest all at once. Yeah. Because a lot of us were never taught the iterative process in school or in business. We believe that we need to have everything done all at once. And that's the waterfall model, where you have to do a complete thing and then you move on to the next thing. And so that has been proven to be the worst way to do most things, unless you're in some kind of high security firm. So what we want from you is we want baby steps. And at my heart, in my heart of hearts, I am a physicist. And I had physics explained to me one time by one of my professors that physics is the ability to break down science until a baby can do it. And then you just go ahead and do it. And so with architecture, with service, with risk and strategy, we're covering every aspect that your client needs to know, but we're doing it in bite-sized chunks so that you get better buy-in. With confidence comes buy-in. And that is an equation you need to know. It's very simple. There are a lot of people, a lot of consultants out there who want to sell you on very complicated processes. Why? Because complicated processes make consultants money.
There's margin in the mystery.
The amount of money I have spent on great ideas, like, oh man, if I could just get ITIL to work. Oh man, imagine how great our company would be.
Yeah.
If I could just implement this 300-step process, imagine how great things could be. We know for a fact that doesn't work. What we do know works is the agile methodologies. And there are multiple out there for the viewer agile lovers. And that's also why things like traction works, because it makes things simple. It doesn't expect perfection. And neither does this dashboard. The dashboard says, and our goal as a company between Skip and I is like, we're lazy. We want you to have open this tool, present to a client in 30 minutes or less. Wow. This is where you need to be. And then you spend the next 30 minutes of your meeting talking about when are they going to pay you for it? Done. So when you have done the assessment and you are building the recommendations and you're saying, when can we do this? You then can export them out to tickets when you get back to your desk. You don't need to be in the PSA in the meeting. You're just coming into the meeting and you're saying, okay, cool. They are buying into all of these things. Sweet. You go back to your tool and you export all the projects to your PSA and you're done. Or you can manually create something. Whatever your process is for project management, go through it. But in front of your client, your job is to show them why they need to spend $8,000 to go on this journey with you. You're not selling them firewalls. You're not selling them anything else. You're selling them experiences. And that routinely, as we've heard from members, works. And it's simple and it's stupid. It sounds like, oh, that's too simple. It can't work. I promise you it does. Having this one pillar show up on the left-hand side and the rest of this blank shows your client that you know what you're doing, that you're going on a journey together. Here's the first section. Here's the first bite they need to take. And then when come April, you're going to give them a nice assessment on service. Like, oh, Now here are the recommendations. Look how far below they are. You know what? You're doing okay against the industry average, but we want to take you here. Now you have a customer journey. What about risk? We're not going to worry about risk yet right now, because we need to get the services in place that are going to help us address the risk. But right now, Alice isn't getting support after hours because you don't have an after hours support contract with us. And it's all being done ad hoc. So we have 3 other customers that are having outages at the time. You're at the bottom of the list because they have contracts with us and you don't. So you're telling them a story. You're taking them on a journey. And then when you come into fourth quarter, you can add in, depending on where you live in the world, the appropriate risk assessment. And here we are. Hey, you know what? You're doing okay, but we really want to get you here because you need to be compliant because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah. If you become compliant, you can say we are the only vendor in town that is 100% NIST compliant. Whatever your narrative is, but you're not selling them on technical details. You're selling them on business solutions. So this customer journey is built into the dashboard. And if you feel like you want to do a customer journey where every January you remove the previous assessments so they don't know where they were, like, hey, we're going to go through this journey again. Yeah. Or you updated their reports and can show them where they went with snapshots and with PDFs. But the point of this particular webinar today is to show you that you can use this dashboard. It's the only tool you need for an effective QBR that will sell tens of thousands of dollars of projects in one meeting.
Now, let me flip over. So we've got, a real split here. We've got some folks that are brand new to the platform on the call. We've also have some folks, you guys have been with us for a really, really long time. So for those that have been in the platform longer, you might have heard me say this before as well, but I've got a little bit of a test here. So Adam, if you'll go ahead and click us back to client. And then let's go ahead and hit clients and then project at the very top, the client button there. Yeah, and then score compare.
Oh, no.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. You went to the right place. My bad. Clients and project roadmap. We want to see the overall one. All right. So this view shows you all of your projects across all of your clients. Now, this little environment, we only got Red Fist and 2 others, Chose Drucks and 1 other one doesn't have much in it. But anyway, your views are going to look very broad. You're going to be able to see all of your clients. But as you scroll down that list, you need to be looking, and do we have the standard template names in this list, or have they been renamed to something that means something to your clients? Now, some of the things specifically around the security stuff, those are very regulatory driven. So there's not a lot of space, I would say, to rename that. Sometimes we can, other times, no, we are meeting regulatory compliance, so it is what it is. But things about, stop worrying about things, or, enabling new features or new capabilities within your clients, those are the sort of things that we want to see in this list, not the static, generic, technical, hardcore names. We want to see the business initiatives that we're trying to attract. And if you don't see a good amount of those in this list, I would make the argument that your team doesn't understand what these technology solutions are really doing for your clients. If we can't put some sort of description out there on it, then there's a good chance we might be missing the ball on why this customer needs to upgrade this server, or whatever the technology solution is. So that will help you close a lot more business, because when you focus on these from business objectives versus technical objectives, it changes the dynamic of your conversation with your clients.
And that's what this is all about, people. Change the conversation. So we're about 2 minutes over here, but I just want to make sure that you walk away with, use the dashboard to filter your conversations. Use the 3-step process, which is Skip,
assess, recommend, and roadmap.
Simple stuff. Use that to sell projects to your clients, and use the business name of the project once it's been recommended. And that builds trust by showing them the journey you're taking them on. You can show the journey, and this is all done in the dashboard. You can show them the journey very easily. So here's Joe's Trucks. Here's their journey. What about services? We're not worrying about that today. We're worrying about architecture. If you want to show them the whole assessment, you can. But right now, you want to show them they're taking them on a journey every year. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Or maybe in your process, you want to do all 4 in one annual assessment every year. That's up to you. That's the beauty of the framework that we've built. It's not a process. It is a framework that you can adapt to how your company works so you can sell projects better. We just insist that you use the dashboard as part of, as your customer journey to show them where they're going and how you're going to get them there and how you're going to improve their business and give them a competitive advantage that no other MSP can. That's your sales pitch. Follow us on this journey. We will give you a competitive advantage over every single person in your vertical. No other MSP will promise that. You will. And that will build trust because then you're going to deliver on this and they're going to find out that, man, things are just running smoother. Man, our quoting system is more reliable. It hasn't gone down in months.
Yep.
We have a better warehousing system now. We're able to track things even when I'm not on site. This is fantastic. They will forget that it was you who brought this to them. But the good thing is, every time you bring up this this nice little dashboard, it's going to remind them. And that's the beauty of it. That perceived value stays on the table. Hey, remember when the quoting system used to go down every day? That's not a problem anymore. Remember when you couldn't track warehouse equipment across multiple sites? Not a problem anymore. Thanks to our VPN, thanks to our new firewall solutions, thanks to our mobile device project, whatever it is, it's causing that to happen. But this is the journey you want them on, and this will make you money. And that's how you use the dashboard to win over clients.
There we go.
Anything else, Skip?
That's it.
All right. So we'll see everybody next week. I don't have the beautiful HIT agenda up here. We're going to continue conversations about architecture audits. I believe we're going to show you how to integrate the key stakeholder interviews into the context. I think that's what next week is.
Yep.
If not, I will just delete this part of the recording. Thank you everyone for coming. Great crowd today, and we'll see you next week.